I hope you're well. I am well myself, and I today we are talking about why you cannot keep your people when fighting evil altars, and I've had to take down a few videos I started. I was having some difficulties, okay? And so today is Thanksgiving Day. We've had a time, but now it's time to do this. And I'm grateful to carve out a time. The guys are enjoying some movies. So if you hear some noise, that is what it is. But I wanted to share this with you guys because for some reason I've been thinking about it all day, and also for some time because I wanted, to find the right way, the right words, the right time to be able to speak about this, okay? And so um, I really do want people to understand that everyone's path is different. And I always say that for us, we are in the fourth generation, okay? Our lives are quite different from the third generation in my family, and the second generation and the first generation, uh, four generation backwards, okay? And so it's been quite a challenge learning. It's been quite a curve, okay? And me personally, as a woman, as a girl, as a mother, as a wife, there's some things I've identified that were quite stumbling blocks. I don't know if things were different. It could have been different. For me, I would have appreciated more. I am not sure, but I like to share what I have learned, and also just borrowing from the Bible to check if my convictions are true or valid, okay? Because I have actually, since I did the video about the old spirit that keeps interfering with generations, and I said that we will have to break up with our moms, when dealing with evil altars, especially once you know what you're fighting. And also it should be at the very beginning, yeah, in the Israelite people. There used to be a period given to a man when they married, okay? So if a man marries a woman, they would be given a year off from battle or anything else, every other activities. So it would be just them, okay? Just the man and his wife getting to know each other, okay? Getting to understand intimacy, and perhaps even create a baby in that time. So this man would not be sent to war or any other duties that Israel as a tribe would do. Okay, it was just the two of them. Okay, in my culture, and God is very intentional about where He puts you. Okay, there's a reason why you are who you are, why you were born in the home that you were born into, and you have a purpose. Okay, in that family and also for your life. Okay, so you come into a family where you get to learn who you are, who your people are, and then later you will notice that. You create another generation, okay? And how you do all these things will be determined by what God has called you to do, okay? So looking at the generations, like I said, each generation has a mandate, okay? And when you find that you're fighting evil altars that have affected all these generations, because these generations were affected by the kind of worship they got into or the kind of agreements they made, okay? That way, which is idol worship, according to Exodus 20, God says that if his people leave him and go on to worship idols, okay, he would leave them. He would leave them, and he will send a curse to the third and fourth generation, okay? And so you find that a lot of people fall under this category, and there were so many changes throughout the generations. And about 4 generations ago, where a lot of changes were happening in Africa, a lot of people were affected, okay, by the kind of altars that were formed then, okay, about 4 generations ago. And this I have investigated and found just so many families were affected in this manner, and they were under a curse, operating under a curse, so much so that they went into a lot of hardship, a lot of things not happening with ease, and they wouldn't actually understand until they started, a generation came where, a generation, no, a generation of deep spirituality, where they would get to understand what is affecting them as a people. Okay, now when you're under a curse, you find that your life is different because it is limited. Okay, so you would notice that not just one person, not just two, okay, not just a particular lineage, but a lot of people facing the same things. And this is how sometimes we see, we identify a whole country operating in a certain manner. Okay, that is because they are, shackled, not really shackled, they're being affected by the same kind of evil altars. Okay, so the familiar spirits in the altars that know, okay, they are older than you, they know the kind of contracts and covenants that were made on, certain altars, and now it reaches a point where they can be able to take over. Okay, so they take a time, just building and increasing to a point where it reaches a time where they're strong enough to take over. So even if people were spiritual, if people were, God fearing, if people were given to a certain way of living that was pleasing to God, they completely changed their ways. Okay, excuse me. And now you find that, if say our forefathers get into that kind of thing and they come into some agreements, this familiar spirit will be in operation for the 4 generations, and God will allow it because this particular family, the fathers of this family, have agreed to move away from God and his precepts, and in so doing, they've sold out their generations. Okay, and so when these generations come in and they find like a lot of hardship, yeah, and it starts almost immediately. Okay, so if somebody is using say witchcraft, yeah, it starts immediately. Like, let's say if me and my sister, the same generation, right, decide to do witchcraft. Okay, maybe I decide to do witchcraft on my sister. Okay, it will start affecting her immediately because I am doing spells, yeah, that I want to see an effect happening in her life. Okay, and because when you get into spiritual things, the more you do, the more, because you need more power, especially because spells do fade. Okay, there will be times where you won't be as effective in your works. Okay, or maybe you'll affect somebody this time and then go away, so by the time you come again, it's like they've risen up. Yeah, and so you have to cast another spell for them to be affected. Okay, so you have to keep doing that, and you realize that you have to go deeper and deeper. You want more power, you want more influence. Okay, so it reaches a point where you're even performing black magic. Okay, where you even want, it's dangerous now, you even want to affect somebody to a point of death. Okay, very, very serious things. You want to operate in different kinds of witchcraft, like voodoo, right? Like just so many I don't want to get into. Similarly, if there's one that is chosen to serve God, you will notice that they will get that awakening. Okay, they realize that, oh, I am all sold out to God, I desire this. Yeah, I want to know God more and more, especially when he has awakened you himself, and he took you out of a very difficult situation where you were abandoned by everyone. Yeah, and he came through for you. Okay, so you were seeking help and you find him, and when you find him, he does all these things where, he guides you into, because you actually find him because he has guided you into a place where you'll find an opening to start repenting. Okay, so you'll find like a calling, you'll come, across a church, you'll come across a people or a person who convinces you that for you to find a solution, you can actually seek God. Yeah, and in your seeking, you see him, and you see him now do mighty good things in your life. Okay, or he provides for you the miracle that you actually want, and then you realize that once you've gotten into that, you cannot leave him again. Okay, because once you've accepted God, to be your father, your rescuer, your deliverer, he will expect you to live in a certain way. Okay, so you'll have to be very consecrated. You'll have to be, obedient to him. He will require you to answer to his call. Each time he calls you, he will want you to do what is right. He will require you to live a righteous life. Okay, so the deeper, because you've seen that, because you have freely received that gift, that miracle, you will you'll find that you're getting deeper and deeper to even reach the level, that you want. And the thing with God is that he'll keep elevating your life until your dying day, and then you will live you'll be able to leave a legacy. Okay, but it's the same kind of spiritual help that you're getting. Okay, just one is good, one is evil. Okay, yeah, so something like witchcraft, or something like submitting to an altar, the power takes over immediately. Okay, and so you find this generation is affected in this way. Okay, and God just turns away his head. He turns his face away from all this abomination, from all this sin. Yeah, and sin will get you every time you sin. Yeah, and do not repent, do not draw closer to God and come into agreement with other gods, other ways of surviving, because you want to prevail over your circumstances and still be able to accomplish a lot in your life. But you are doing that by affecting other people, or you don't think you're affecting other people, but you're using certain powers, perhaps to run your business. Okay, to establish your family and make it strong and prevailing. When God has all this provision for us. Yeah, maybe you want your children to do well in school, in life, and instead of praying over them and believing that God will make them the head and not the tail, you want to pay for that power, for your children to do well. Okay, to affect other people. And sometimes you see your children are not as talented, and you want to to take somebody else's star or destiny, so that your child does better. So those things do happen. But the topic today was that because of the families that get into a curse, yeah, or because of the families that are affected by curses. Okay, at some point God will want to rescue you. Okay, and so there are these particular people that cannot carry their family along. Okay, or that cannot even be led to live with their families. Why? Because you will affect each other so much that you will not reach your destiny. Now, because of our cultures and tradition, sometimes we want to stay together. Okay, but even culture, like my culture was like this. Yeah, when we were doing customary marriages. Okay, it would be that the man who likes you and wants to marry you would come to your home and speak for you, and he would come with his people, and they would say, our people want to marry your daughter. Okay, so we are taking this girl to be ours, to be our people. Okay, and in exchange, the girl's family would be given certain gifts, dowry. It would be in form of animals, and then they would share something like traditional beers together. They would share other things together. Okay, don't mind me, guys, if I don't reply to you, especially if you're not a bot. Okay, so don't mind me, because I just want to really focus, but do come in and say hello. Okay, yeah, so you would find that the boys family would give certain gifts to the to the girl's family, and this was in compensation to the daughter they are taking. It is kind of a comfort package. Okay, like we understand that you will miss your daughter, that you love your daughter, but it is time for her to get married. Okay, and this is a good thing to all of them understand that this is a good thing, that this girl should find a home and have continuity. Okay, now this girl was to be expected. It was expected that this girl has been fully trained by the mother. Okay, because girls were expected to grow close to the mother, learning their traditions, their cultures, their ways, learning how to manage a home, because that's a whole thing. And so we see a lot of mothers would be expected to teach their daughters just like their mothers before them taught them. Okay, so at the point you're training this girl for marriage, okay, and to manage a home, so marriage for the husband, but also to be a great mother, okay, and a wife to the husband, yeah. So the whole thing, the whole shebang, okay. So a lot of things that were expected, and even her grandmother, where the mother is married, because the mother is not living with her parents, okay. Rarely did that happen, okay. So her grandmother that she found there would also be training her in their ways, okay. And so we find that when this girl gets married, she is removed from her family and goes and becomes one with the boy's family, with the boy, okay. But what used to happen is that the boy's mother would welcome her, okay, and would keep her in her kitchen. And we find this showing a lot in the Asian families, where a girl is taught in the way, because they use like a lot of spices, a lot of different ways in cooking. Some, like I believe southern India uses a lot of, they make a lot of rice dishes, while northern India uses, like flour products, yeah. Now I'm just using that as an example, but say you're married to a home that cooks a certain way, yeah. We do have our traditional meals, but you would find a mother-in-law will have ways in which she cooks her food, and this is how this family eats, okay. So she will train her daughter, but she will also be very excited about what this girl knows, okay, from her home. And so we see at an introduction of this new energy, where this girl comes up with something new, and this mother will show her her ways in the kitchen, how they run their home, just showing her what the culture of the home is like. So she gets to learn that in the beginning, and then after a while, because she did not marry the mother, okay. This mother has her own home that she's running, okay, and she has her own daughters and her own sons, yeah. Her own daughters will be married and go away, okay, but she will acquire these new daughters as the sons marry, and she will train them. Understand this, she's just training this girl to learn how the home works, what they do, okay, what duties they expect the woman to do, and then eventually they would send her out to her own home. So this would be like a training of a month, like a month's training, and you're only getting a short time of training. Why? Because where you come from, they expect that you've been trained. For some homes, it would be like 3 months. You're living with just your mother-in-law, and she's training you how she serves her husband, how she handles her boys, how she handles her, her daughters, if some are still unmarried. And this would be like now the new wife's sisters, yeah. These are her new sisters. And so after that month, or that month or months of training, they would go back to the mother's house, okay, and they would go back to give thanks, okay. It's like another time of Thanksgiving and eating together, but also they bring gifts, and they praise this girl for how well she's trained, what kind of a person she is, that they show that they accept her, okay. Not that you would be returned anyway, but it's just a thanksgiving to the home of the girl, yeah. And also now to communicate that now she's living alone by herself with her husband, okay. So they're given that time. Also the honeymoon, of course, had already started, because she does live with her husband, but she eats from the mother-in-law's kitchen, okay. So this is a very important background, especially for those of our culture who don't know these things, yeah. And so when the girl is sent, to her home, now to officially start living with her husband, we will see that, these two will be given a time together. This man will not be going out much to, to perform his duties with the men. They will get to know each other with the wife, but you will find that at some point when she gets pregnant, it will be like so natural to veer towards the women again, to learn how to handle her pregnancies, and also the whole time, yeah, even if she doesn't get pregnant immediately, she will be working, with the ladies, just to learn how to do things, or even just working with herself, has on herself, by herself, depending on her home, yeah. So she will establish her home. So this is important to know, okay. because there has been a change since then. Yeah, when we came into the rural, the urban setting, some homes would change. Okay, and so we would want to be close to our mothers for advice. Like it would be easy for our mothers, especially if you moved away with your family. Okay, if you moved away with your family, you will notice that if you meet a boy in the city, your mother can easily visit you. You can easily hang together. Not that it was forbidden in the old days, it just was expected that the mother is very busy with her home. Okay, and now you have a new home, so you only meet during village dances or such things. Yeah, you don't meet much. Okay, and the training that your mother gives you, she gives you without a boy in mind. And whether you have a boy or not in mind, your mother doesn't know this man enough to give you advice according to who this man is. Okay, but now you see it is different. Yeah, when we get married, it is a new thing, and this thing is such a beautiful thing. You see that your mother, who maybe is still could be married still to your father, or not, it could be a single family home, but from where you come, everybody enjoys this new thing that has begun, this new energy, and people get to fraternize a lot. Yeah, and so we see a really different change, a really different culture from what used to be. Okay, now I speak of things that I did not even participate in, but I heard a lot about what used to happen. Okay, but now, when a girl gets into marriage now, we don't get a year to know our husbands. Yeah, we don't get time to know our mother-in-law, because hardly do we ever live with her. Okay, she is the holder of the family at this point. Okay, this family you're coming into, she's the one who has raised your husband. Okay, so it would be nice to learn from her, but there's been so many breakdowns in the way we used to run things, and so people don't know what their duties their duties are. Okay, and so there's so much boundary crossing, so much that you find that like some people are very stern about the way they do things. You find a mother who is not willing to share her space, and is very unprepared for the new daughter that is coming, and maybe she will judge this daughter just by how she looks, or maybe she will be excited sometimes, because it doesn't always go wrong. Yeah, but people really, what I'm saying, do not get to give each other a chance. Okay, and so it gets very, very murky, because perhaps with this new home that this girl has, it could be an escape for her parents. Maybe she's very close to the father, and the father wants to be around her. She's very close to the mother, and the mother wants to be around her. She wants to keep visiting this home. She wants to advise the girl on what she does, how she carries on. Some mothers are very afraid that the daughter will not be able to manage, so she keeps doing and helping her with things, which means she did not get appropriate or proper training, and so she needs to have the mother as reference. Okay, or as a guide here, but there's just so much, she lives back, and we see that a lot of mothers are very close to the daughters, and even when they are not, it's like this is the point at which they can they have a lot to compare. Okay, the mother might even be afraid if the daughter won't be able to cope. This is the time she feels like she can give advice, and yet before she did not train this girl in the way she should go. Okay, we are told in the Bible, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's older he will not depart from it, he or she. Okay, so the training has to be done while this girl is at home, because hardly ever do you get the chance to follow her into her home. But we see with the culture now, we've been following our daughters to their homes. Okay, we want to know how this home runs, whether you approve or not, and so just so many issues. You want to know this boy, and a lot of mothers are very easy, they get easily along how am I putting it, with the son-in-law, okay? So there's usually not a problem there, yeah, but when there is, it is a big problem, okay? But now there's just so much that goes into marriage that only these two people should be together to build into that, and understand how they want to keep their home and all of that, yeah. But a lot of people, in fact, when they get married, the mother will want to send even some siblings to live with them. The boy's family will also want to send some siblings to live with them. So this woman is tested before she's even grown, okay? She's still like a child. She needs to grow into this home, but that hardly ever happens. And so we see a lot of strain when the girl, is sent the siblings to the man. She has a very hard time because she did not grow with these people. She cannot ask them to do anything or to help around the house, because they will feel like, this is our brother's home, we should be able to enjoy. But her sisters, her siblings, she's used to, okay? So she may have ease with them, because if she sends them, if she tells them, what to do in her house, they're more receptive, okay? But still, this is too much for a new marriage. It's just that we don't recognize. And the previous generation may do that because that was done to them, okay? But now there comes a very different family, and this is the kind of family where they recognize, or God is changing things for them, because they have evil altars speaking against them, okay? And now, if you notice, there's so many things that have caused the brokenness in this kind of homes, okay, where there's an altar, okay? And so because of all this crossing of boundaries, all these parents being a bit irresponsible and wanting to hand over what they consider burdens into this new home, into this new generation. You will find that if a man and his wife are working, and they're getting an income, the parents will want to send the siblings to be educated by this young man, okay? So he doesn't get a chance to build, okay? And neither does the girl. Now, why is this a problem? And that is not the only issue. My issue was that, the woman, because of everything she's going through in the marriage, would want to keep her mom very close. And sometimes the mom just wants to be close to this family because it is giving her a newness that she hasn't been enjoying. If we are being very honest, as older women, there are times that marriage gets boring, okay? We are very excited when our children are getting into marriage. We want a bit of that, new energy. We want to be there when our grandchildren are born, which is the times that we should be coming together, okay? Otherwise, we should let these people be, okay? And so we bring our own ideals to this family. And I've seen this thing where daughters, especially in the urban areas, will keep borrowing their mother to help them, okay? So if a daughter is very busy with her things and she has like young children, she will keep calling on her mother to help her, okay? Now, that would be fine if these people are living in the same place, okay? It has come to a point where even us as diasporians, and it's been happening for a long time, you will take your mother to come and help you in the new land, okay, that you have come to. So you're taking your mother to the diaspora. And because this woman is married, her husband is left behind, because you don't want both. You can't even comprehend, what is my father coming to do? I need my mother to come and help me with the kids, okay? So you have your husband and the new home that you're forming and your children, okay? So your mother comes in to be a helper to you. Who has been left with your father? Okay, so this is a very selfish thing that is happening a lot. And when the older woman is not conscious, she breaks her own home trying to build for her daughter. And she's very, very excited about this. She wants this, okay? Hardly do we get, especially when we do not have the financial means, hardly do we get these two people coming together. And sometimes the father may even be busy. Some mothers can even leave their jobs and whatever, anything they've been doing, to just come and be with the daughter, okay, in the name of helping out, okay. And now, while that may sound very noble, a lot of homes are breaking, okay, and a lot of daughters are getting to uh this thing that begins like entitlement, okay, like I'm entitled to have my mother help me, and then it turns into a full-blown spiritual thing where you're the one who says, you're the one with the money, you're the one with the new home, you're the one with the new opportunity, okay. So to get your parents to get help, you become very bossy, very commanding, okay. And this, it doesn't happen the way I'm saying it, okay. It just looks like a good idea. You send out a word of help, but not knowing that this thing should not even be happening in the first place, okay. A lot of daughters have taken their mothers, especially those who used to have a career. They have taken them from their husbands, their homes, okay, and they're like, if you come here, you'll be able to start all over again. They have taken their mothers from what they thought were abusive marriages, and they want to give them another chance, okay? Not understanding that you're bringing this woman into your own home, your new culture, your new, new spirits, new culture in this home, okay? But you're merging these two generations. It's not always ugly. Sometimes it's noble. Sometimes it's help for a short time, which should be the thing, okay? So like when you get babies, it's amazing. It is a good thing to have our parents come, meet the new baby, bless the new baby, hang with us, we are getting to know each other, but only for some moments, okay, and then we go back to our lives, okay. We are supposed to have our own lives. Let me tell you, crazy spiritual things happen when people live together. When adults live together for extended periods and we leave it open-ended like that, it causes a lot of havoc, okay. A lot of women also never get to embrace the mother-in-law enough to understand how this home runs. And that is why I wanted to read the book of Ruth, okay? It tells a story of this woman called Naomi, who was married to a man called Elimelech. And I will, Elimelech, and he had two sons, okay? And so this country, they came from Judah. Now Judah entered famine, okay? There was famine in the land. And so Naomi and her husband Elimelech and the two sons go to Moab in search of greener pastures, okay? And then while they were there, the two sons married, okay? So it is, everybody's married in this family, okay? These daughters have come to live with Naomi in her home as the newlyweds, okay? Or the wives of her sons. And then the two boys die. Both the father and the two boys die. So it is now just the women, okay? And so Naomi decides, while she was there, she had a word that now there's food in Judah, okay? Like the famine is over, and she thinks, why don't I go back, okay? And so they begin packing, all of them they're going back because they know they belong to this woman, okay? They became her people, okay? So they were married to Judah men, okay? The men of Judah. Okay, but these women were Moabites, but by marrying into this family, they became Judeans, okay? So even if they left with this woman, nobody would question, okay? They belong with the husband's family. So even if these men didn't die, they decided to move back, they would have moved back together, okay? But now at this point, because the men are dead, they can remain or go with this woman. But the first thought is that we belong with Naomi, okay? So we are going to go where she will go because her people are our people, okay? Now Naomi thinks, if these girls are coming with, I should let these girls go for sure, because I no longer have sons and I can't bear, any more sons. I'm older now, okay? So I should let them go so that they get another chance at marriage, because it is allowed, yeah, in the Judean culture that, if you get married and your husband dies, but you're still young, you can marry again, okay? So she tells them to go, but they say, no, we are coming with you. But one of them eventually is like, yeah, it makes sense. I will go back to my people, okay? So she's returned to her people, and that is usually what happens to single women, okay? When you are married and then you divorce, it's like you go back to your own family. When you're unmarried but you have children, these children are even named in your own family, okay? So your children's people are your people, the people of this woman, okay? But some cultures have it that your children are the husband's people, okay? So they are named in that family, okay? So if you have even children with a man and he never marries you, he'll still take his child and go away with the child, okay? So you remain as if you didn't have children, you as the woman, okay? But in my culture, our children remain with us, okay? So if we are unmarried but we get children, we name them after our people, okay? So whatever happens, and because we repeat our names, okay? We repeat the names. Like if I'm naming somebody, if a child, if my son gets a child and she's named, she will be named after me, my own name, okay? So it won't be a new name coined, it will be my name in my culture, okay? In other cultures, they give a different name, even when they are naming you, okay? And it so happens that that works for them because there is so much power in a name, okay? And so when you remain unmarried but you have children, they will be named in your family, okay? Your people, your children are your people. They belong to your people, okay? But if you get married, you become one with these other people. So marriage makes you, okay? Marriage makes you one. And that is why the Bible says to the man, you shall leave your mother and father and become one with this woman, okay? So she becomes yours. You have a home together, okay? But you are from these people, the man's family, okay? Anyway, so this woman, one of the daughter-in-laws decided, no, I'm going back with my mother-in-law. I got married, she's my people, okay? I'm going to her people. Your people shall be my people. So she's sold out to this woman. She wants to be with her, and she's not even thinking about marriage. But when they get back, because this mother is very impressed with this lady, she sends her to catch the attention of a relative of hers that she knew would marry this girl. And you see, if she had other sons, she would have let this girl get married to the other sons, okay? But this is also a relative of hers, and she tells her how she can, or what she can do to get this man, okay, as her husband. And it turns out that this, becomes she's part of, Jesus' genealogy on the father's side. But that is not what I was looking, into. I just wanted you to understand, yeah, that this was a culture in the Judean culture. The Jews believed that, the girl becomes your people, okay? When you marry, get to become one with your wife, okay? Yeah. So I really, really feel like because this is not exactly a conversation, it's kind of difficult to get into the vices of this, yeah. But I wanted you to understand, guys, so much, yeah, especially the girls who are in this and have been fighting this, or they understand later, in the family, that there are things I'm battling in my marriage. You cannot bring your people along, okay? Understand this. Both God, you see, he's working with 4 generations. When one generation goes against his laws and commands and instructions, he gives them a curse that lasts about 4 generations. Why do you think it lasts 4 generations? I will give you the answer, and I will give you from the scientific side, okay? Science also believes that due to intermarriage, okay, if there's a genetic problem, it will end in 4 generations because of intermarriage, okay? So if the first generation got like a genetic problem, I don't have one in mind, yeah, but a genetic problem, okay? I don't want to say sickle cell anemia because some people don't last for very long when they have sickle cell. Some do, okay? Anyway, just a genetic problem. The next generation will lessen the effects of this genetic problem, okay? Because it's very probable they marry into a family that does not have this genetic problem. And that is why it's so important to marry outside of our people, okay? Because our people could all have this genetic problem, okay? So the third generation, doesn't have as much of this problem, okay, then the next generation will marry other people, and the genetic problem will lessen, okay, and by the fourth generation it's getting wiped out, okay, so it's no longer affecting the children that are born in this family. And that is only if they are marrying outside of their genetic pool, okay? So it's very important that we do not marry our people, okay? So when we break off from our people due to marriage, we really should break off. And in other circumstances, and I've seen even people commenting about this, like, oh, you're telling people to leave, their mother's people. I'm not saying that, okay? Me and my mother, we are tight now, especially now that we are older, okay, and God has brought us to a season where we are fighting some things together, okay, but I have seen a lot of brokenness, and there's some things I would rather not have encountered when I was a young bride, okay, especially because my mother was not very present when we were young. So her coming around when I'm older and telling me what to do, I could not understand, okay? Her coming around when I'm married, even though it would be so joyous when she's coming, when I'm getting my babies, she's loving them. We said that with the next generation, it's easier for a mother to cope even with the grandchildren that it was for her and her child. Her child doesn't understand her as much, especially if the family has not been normal. So when I talk about these things, guys, I'm not talking about a regular family where there's a father and mother who understands how to be, to bring up a healthy family, and they check each other, and they're both doing their roles. No, I'm talking about a family that is fighting altars, okay? So if your family is normal and you feel like you're really aiding each other to grow, perfect, okay? Your family, if it's not normal, there's a place where you will enter, and it will be problems, okay? And we have all seen it. Let us not pretend that we haven't, okay? We have seen families where, and giving an example of my family, I said we had anti-marital altars, okay? So rarely did we see men coming in. Rarely did we see fathers. We did not have fathers. We did not have a grandfather, okay? So my grandfather did not have her husband around, okay? Our mother was single, and so were other women, was her sister. So was her sister. We were living in this home together, okay? And so with the third generation, as we are getting boyfriends, we are really encroaching in each other's space, okay? So your cousin will think this is an ideal man. And that will happen in any situation, yeah, but you find that because of all these familiar spirits, so many things will be caused to happen, so many evil things, okay? And when a curse is happening in your family, when there's a witchcraft even in the family, everything comes as a package, okay? So if it's like an anti-marital altar, it comes as a package, okay? So when you're poor, you're all poor, okay? And then one of you gets a man that has money, trust and believe, even the generation before will be like, no, they seem to be suited with this other girl better. This other girl is more beautiful, okay? So you who brought this boyfriend can be very likely this man can be very easily snatched. And let me tell you, this is not about snatching men. I'm just saying people can go against God's will and God's plan for each and everybody because of what is happening in the family, because of the spirits in the family. And let me tell you, they're just living there watching as you bring new people, as you bring new energies, okay? And let me tell you, do you remember how we were saying that, altars attract the other altars? So you're very likely to marry into a family that has the same altars, okay? So the attraction you're feeling towards each other, because you met each other first, you're very attracted to each other, that will be the same attraction between the same generation, okay? So there's no honor among these people, okay? There's no honor among evil spirits, okay? There's so much evil spirits in this home, and this man also comes with evil spirit, okay? So you see so much hurt, so much enmeshment, so much, boundary crossing, so much brokenness, okay? And let me tell you, when it is talked about, when even this, generation talks to the older generation, their moms and their aunts, when they report such matters, such hurtful matters, they are told, you think he's the only man, and so much brokenness happens from there. If they're like single mothers who have not who are not stayed in themselves, they're still hustling out there, they're still running the streets, what happens? They bring these men home to young girls who are yet to come into their own lives, okay? And so you're bringing this man as your own man, but he's not this children's father, okay? So there's just so much confusion, and so much sin can seep into that, okay? Think about open doors and how we open these doors, okay? So if this girl from this very broken and confused home, very, very murky home, and I'm telling you, it can get really, really messy, okay? If this girl from this very messy home carves out a way to find peace for herself, there will be no peace for herself, okay? First of all, she cannot be stayed with this man in this new home, because the demons in the family, because when you're under evil altars, they're speaking in your mind, they're whispering things in your ear, okay? You'll find that people are following this young girl to her new home, okay? They're causing havoc there. I've ever been followed by a drunk cousin, and I told him, I don't want you to make all this noise and do all these crazy things in front of my kids, okay? They are shocked to see this. And he really insulted me, and he was telling me, oh, you think you're special because now you're living here? Nothing was special, okay? But this man was crazy noisy and very drunk and acting out in front of my children. I didn't want my children to see that, okay? But because he's like, you're my cousin, okay? So I have, I can come here whenever I want. And I'm like, no. You understand? It gets so crazy, it gets so murky. And this one will even, insult your children, insult you in front of your children, okay? And you're like, I didn't sign up for that. And there's still so much guilt because this is still your family. You understand? So when you're carving out, a new home, new ideals, and you're like, I really don't want this, and I will stand up to you, they will even drink some more and come and attack you, okay? Because they feel like they have a legality, they have a legal right to you. They can come to your home. It is their home, okay? You are their people. So to get that understanding, even in operation, there's no honor. It will take so much. There's no honor. There's no respect. There's no boundaries, okay? And when you try to make boundaries, you're insulted for that, okay? When you try to tell your mother you want to do things different with your children, she will call you names. Why do you think you are so special? You are raised with less or different, okay? And so for these particular families fighting evil altars, and let me tell you, it is so many. It will be very difficult, okay? And so you find yourself conforming. You find yourself, especially because there's always this fear we have for our authority figures, okay? If it is this culture in the home, if it is this culture in a church, if it is this culture in your dwelling, in your society, let's say you're operating under society where people are thinking the same way. Because let me tell you, everything, all of these things, even our thought patterns become a culture. And you find that people living in the same place will think a similar way, okay? So only separated by their family units. Some are more broken than others, okay? Or more dysfunctional than others, okay? So when you try to break off that, they will come after you, just like the familiar spirits come after you when you start praying and you want to bring a difference. Yeah, you want to bring a change, okay? And that is why you find the first person to do a thing, they will be fought to the ground, okay? And yet you're all mixed. You do not have the clarity of what you're doing. You just know you want different, okay? You want to establish a difference in a family. You have a picture in your mind of how you want your family to be, okay? Some people are easy, and some people, they have respect with each other. They have honor with each other, okay? So they even know when I go to so and so's house, I can't bring as much havoc. This one is not to be played with, okay? So they honor this person. There's that, okay? There's that. But that is not you. You could not be getting the same respect, okay? Maybe because you're the youngest in the family, or because you're breaking altars, or because you're the family black sheep, okay? So you're the family black sheep, you're breaking off, you know, when you finally leave the home, it becomes so dysfunctional because they don't have anyone to direct all this madness to. So when you go away, they come after you, okay? And they bring this craziness with them, okay? And it will be so hard because, yeah, you still love each other. You still want your people around you, okay? You still want them to help with your children and all of that, okay? Now, I know I've gone around about to get to some of these, you know, points, and I started far and wide, but I want you to understand there's so much enmeshment with families that are fighting evil altars. You don't always know, and sometimes you only learn through the pain that you go through, okay? And it can be a lot of pain and brokenness. Sometimes some people will have to raise their children away from the family without a village. You do not have that privilege, okay? And God allows these things to happen. A family ideally should live together and be, you know, happily together, honor each other, okay? But when God is, you know, is settling this family, there'll be chaos before there is peace, okay? And so you find that the one who is being removed, the one who stands out in this family, that black sheep, you know, will be, and that is why God uses that one who seems to be different, okay? And sometimes some families will not even know, where they wish this person would just disappear, and then when they do and they start doing well, they all come after you, okay? Because now there's that entitlement, there's that legality. You are ours, you always have been, okay? So what are you trying to show us? That you're special, okay? But you know the dysfunction that you suffered with these people. You aren't different, but what you don't have is the strength, the spiritual strength, the mental strength, okay? Because all you know is that you want different. You've always wanted different. You are creating different. You want different for your children, okay? You want different with your man, okay? Whatever is in your head is very different, okay? You want, you know, they will call it special, but all you know is that you want a different thing, okay? And sometimes you'll even find that you are the one who goes back. But when you go back, you're treated like, what are you doing here? What do you want? But when they come to you, they want to come and just rule in your home the way they rule in theirs, okay? So it's like there's no space for you. I mean, what do you know, there's no space for you, neither in your dwelling or in theirs, okay? They have no regard or respect for you, okay? So that is the background, and that is what a lot of people do not see, okay? That is what a lot of young women do not know, okay? But when your family comes after you like this, there's a spirit behind it. There's a reason why they cannot be without you, even though they hate you. Perhaps you're the scapegoat, perhaps you're the black sheep, okay? There's a reason why they cannot be without you, okay? There's a family that you will see when the firstborn gets married, they all move to her house, okay? They can no longer live without her. She became their mom, or he became their dad, okay? So you find that you're putting a burden on this person, but they do not have the mental capability to differentiate and see that our siblings should not be coming with me, okay? It is so important for everybody to handle their responsibility. But in brokenness, you do not see that. You think it is normal to take over your parents' responsibilities, okay? And even though in some circumstances, yeah, just like Paul says, yeah, let's say your mom becomes a widow, okay? You were a family before, but your mom becomes a widow, okay? Me, and I don't know what picture Paul created, but your mom becomes a widow, but she is still in her home. The family is expected to take care of their mom, okay? Before the church takes care of them, okay? But so many times you find that there's so much brokenness that the mom was left with nothing, okay? And she didn't have nothing herself that she created for herself, because you're also expected as a mom to have your own home, your own dwelling that you created enough that you're able to take care of it, okay? It should not always be the church's or other people's responsibility, because you have been given time and chance just like everyone else, okay? But it so happens that nowadays, whether she's a widow or not, like your mother will follow you, okay? Your mother will want what you're getting. And yet, this mother got a dowry. Do you see why it's so wrong? And so many things now begin happening in your family because you're getting, would I say accruing, you're getting some curses because you're going against even your own culture, okay? So you are so set on following culture at the point where this girl is getting married, you want to get the dowry, you want to get all the gifts, you want to get even extra money. Every time you call your son-in-law, he's supposed to, take care of some things that you're calling him about, okay? And yet, when you and your wife create wealth, you want to be the first one to get a house. But remember, the boy's family actually took a dowry and brought it to your home. This was supposed to be like some sort of replacement, or some sort of, to just show that they recognize that they took away your girl. But this girl is supposed to be a blessing in this new home. And it goes so deep. You see, it goes so deep because these two people are supposed to establish a thing. And if these two people are supposed to, God is using them for a particular purpose, to heal this home in a way through the next generation that they bring, but you are encroaching from a former generation, right? You're not staying where you are. And that does not mean that you shouldn't visit, and it shouldn't be like a normal family where you gather and have, times together. But you are encroaching, like you're the one now who talks in this family. You're the new senior mom. Your wife, your daughter is just a picture there to be seen. But you're the one, the puppet master. You're the one who says what goes and what doesn't, okay? You're the one who rushes there to live with your child's family for 2 weeks, leaving your husband because your daughter needs you. You're very rich, wealthy, new money daughter needs you, okay? You're breaking your mother's family. Your mother is breaking yours because she's bringing this old energy to live, to dwell with you guys. So your child will eat what she says, You'll raise your child the way she says. Okay. So not even what they do in this family, in this man's family, not what they do, not what they are used to. Now it will go the man's way, the woman's way. Okay. And you will find all this craziness where this man, all the holidays, all the visits, is to the girl's family. And the man's family watches. The mom's mom, the man's mom just watches and realizes that, oh, I actually lost a son. We paid dowry. We went to this home to take this girl, and now I will never see my son again. It used to be that, when girls are married in a home, the man knows that he will be wealthy because he got girls. And it used to be, if you have a lot of sons, you know that you will gain a lot of daughters, okay? But now it's the men who are in the daughter's family, okay, repairing, doing everything for the mom. Yeah, if you get a new house, your mother has to get a new house, and she will not get it from the husband, she'll get it from the new man, okay? And it looks okay when there's abundance, yeah? But this is not balance between the two homes, okay? And when the respectful mom, the mom-in-law, stays away from your business, you're like, oh, she's a snob. She's never around our family things. We don't let our children go. We don't. And let me tell you, one of my mandates is to show those little things, those little foxes, okay? And some people are already up at arms, They're like, oh, why you when you tell young women not to be tied to their families, what are you saying, How about when they need help? You guys should always be there. There will always be events that brings you all together. Just the same way that there's funerals that, because all of us, cousins, aunts, uncles, people who went far and abroad, they come together for these events, okay? And not just the event itself, but the planning of it. Family will always be family, okay? But when we encroach on this young family, this budding family, that we don't give them a chance to make their own culture, their own family culture that is, different from yours. And even when your daughter tells you innocently that, no, this is what we do with our children, this is what we decided for our children, you're like, please, or you're so into it, okay? You're telling everyone, no, my daughter likes things this way, you know? You're living your daughter's life. You're living precariously through your daughter. And it is quite a shame. And your husband is watching you do all these crazy things, you know? And it seems so cute when it is the husband actually, doing these things instead of the mom, He wants to be, the guy. It does happen too, but it's rare, okay? But I've had a story where a mother puts on some water on the stove for ugali. She was a retired teacher or nurse or something. And she said to the husband, I'm going to buy flour to cook ugali, okay? And she left the husband there. And the husband, is those traditional people who they don't care what the wife is doing in the kitchen. And so this woman had everything planned. She left as if going to a shop. The next thing he had, the woman was in the USA. Yeah. That was organized by the daughter. Leave dad. Leave dad. And so she comes here. And there's nothing as beautiful as having your mother come visit. You take her around. It's the most beautiful thing. It's the most beautiful blessing, when your parents come and you can take them around. Or some you can live with when they're widows or single moms, yeah. Especially if you're also bringing the husband's mom. It shouldn't just be yours, okay? So yeah, a lot of older men have been left, and their women, the next thing they hear, their women are abroad in the UK, in Canada, with their daughters, and they can't say nothing, okay? She will go back when she wants to. Yeah. A lot of other African countries I've seen are bringing the man's mom, okay? So the man's mom, the mother-in-law, comes to be with them and forgets all about her children and her husband because she has to come and share in with what the son has, okay? There's also some tribes in Kenya that are known for that, okay? I'm not like trying to attack. I'm just, giving an example, because with this kind of things, we don't talk about this every day. It doesn't happen every day. Yeah, but it's a lot, and it has broken a lot of homes. Just I think yesterday or the day before, there was a story was going around of a man who married a woman, and then she left the woman for the daughter, and now she's left the daughter for the granddaughter. And that this is not exactly the thing that causes that, but all I am saying is that there are familiar spirits and families that are fighting evil altars. All these things will happen, but we keep opening doors for them because we want to honor, we want some ease, we want help, we want all of these things. But as I am finishing, I will take you back to Abraham, okay? Abraham was called out from among his people, and he left with just his wife Sarah and maybe their servants, okay? And in those days, I have seen that they used to have a servant. When a girl is getting married, she used to have a servant, okay? That's not a reality, especially in this world that we are living in. Anyway, so he was called from among his people. But because they were family people, he took along his nephew called Lot, okay? And the whole time they journeyed with Lot, God did not speak again. Imagine being called, you know that God called you for a thing, okay, to start a journey, and he tells you, you're going to this place and I will bless you there, okay? But along the journey, you want some instruction, you want some intimacy with God, but he doesn't talk, you know. And then they started a war, about some wrangles between this man's servants, Lot. And you see, he was grown. He had his own servants, he had his own livestock, okay, his own wealth. And so, uh, you know, there's wrangles among the servants, and Abraham decides, okay, we have to separate, okay? So you choose the best place you can go, because they were about to settle in a place, okay? And wherever Abraham settled, he would build a holy altar for God. And when they came to this place, there was a valley and there was the hill, okay? They call them the mountains, okay? The mountain areas. And these mountain areas were like deserts. Nothing was happening there. So this young man, when he was told, choose a place where you will go, because now we have to separate to prevent all these wrangles, Lot chose a place down in the valley because it looked fertile, okay? The uncle gave him the first dibs. And so he chose and went with his family down there, okay? And so Abraham remained here, trusting that God will still keep leading him. After all, he had the promise, okay? And at that time, when they broke off, God spoke to him. And he gave him further instructions, okay? So some of these people you're carrying, you don't hear God's voice when you're with them. You hear their voice, okay? So I'm not saying that you shouldn't be closely linked to your relatives. You should maintain peace and seek at all times to be at peace with all men where it is possible, okay? But even Paul was saying in 2 Corinthians, I think 6:17, come from among them, okay? When you're called to begin a new thing, when you're called to salvation, okay, and you see that the people who are around you will cause you to fall again, you have to come out from among them, okay? I'm not saying these people are evil, but these people can really delay you. They can really confuse you. You can really be operating with their ideals, okay? And let me tell you, when there's evil altars we are fighting, we are not even ourselves sometimes. We are influenced by so many other voices, okay? There's so many people who have started a thing only to realize they were spoken to by demons, okay? They were pushing you out there to go humiliate yourself. They were pushing you out there to go embarrass yourself, okay? So many voices that we hear, we cannot differentiate, okay? So when God calls you away for a thing, when God calls you, away to a different path, you cannot carry anyone, okay? So I'm going to leave it there. If it's not if it's not clear enough, I will just keep continuing praying that God will give me clarity for which to communicate that. But I do know that some people understand it, they get it, okay? You have to lay down the guilt and just keep moving forward, because forward is where your destiny is, or you're moving towards it, okay? So I'm gonna leave you. I'm gonna love you and leave you, okay? I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for hanging with me on this Thanksgiving Day. I'll see you on the next one, okay? Bye-bye. God bless you.